Things are tough at Leeds United right now, and although we can still get promoted automatically, it's understandable that the 49ers currently need to plan for all available futures that includes in and out of the Premier League, because both are looking sort of similarly likely at this point. So, we need to learn a little bit more about a meeting that was held between Daniel Farke and the owners of Leeds United. But first, subscribe. I would hugely appreciate it. It really helps the channel to push forwards and the content reach more people, especially the charity stuff. That is always huge. So thank you very much. Also like the video. That also apparently helps the algorithm. The algorithm's a mystery, but fine. Anyway, Daniel Farke has met with the San Francisco 49ers at Elland Road, and it was a meeting between Parag Marathe, Daniel Farke, other key figures. I would assume Greta Steinson was there because he's the technical director. Angus Kinnear as well, basically the big names of Leeds United at the moment, all meeting up and having a bit of a natter, and some would be concerned over the timing of this, very understandably, especially given our form. When you hear about managers having conversations and meetings with the club hierarchy, the main thing that comes to a lot of people's mind is, have they been sacked? But this is where I've got to shoot down a few of the thoughts, a few of the rumours. A meeting at this time is completely normal. It's totally rational to have a talk with a manager immediately before a transfer window, because that helps everyone at the club get a better understanding of who the transfer targets are, who the club might be buying, who the club might be selling, what the strategy is, what the finances available are, everything like that. It is primarily about transfer planning, and as a side note, this isn't at all about sacking Daniel Farke. Firstly, because from the perspective of the club, sacking any manager after a 90-point season would be absolutely insane. Not only is it a 90-point season, it's nearly the highest number of wins we've ever had at the club. It's nearly a points record in the Championship. From a performance point of view, it's batshit. From a point of view of remember the August we had, that was really bad as well. It is equally completely batshit, and it would just be a bad idea, I feel. Because most people can't name a realistic replacement. I saw some people saying, like, Klopp and Mourinho in a live stream recently, which I know they were probably joking, but think about managers at the level that we need that have experience of getting promoted from the Championship. No one comes to mind. But even then, no one comes to a club that sacks managers after a season in which they've matched club records for being unbeaten and for wins on the bounce. Let's be a little bit more sensible here, because ultimately this is all about transfer planning rather than the manager thing. First up, it was noted, because this has all come from a report from Ben Jacobs, who is fairly reliable, that promotion will be key to retaining the most expensive and most valuable players in the squad. We know that this was going to be true anyway. When we got relegated, a lot of those expensive, valuable players basically went, okay, cool, there's a way out, and decided to become the current army that is known as the Lone Rats. Bye-bye, adieu, thank God you're gone. I think that one of the main quotes in this article that really grabbed my attention was that the aim will be to keep the core of the squad together, and that is even in the event that we do go up. The specific quote is, if Leeds go up, the aim will be to keep the core of the squad together. Leeds ownership already had one meeting with Farke as part of this pre-summer planning. In that meeting, they made it clear that promotion to the Premier League will afford him the ability to keep the spine of his squad together. Now, this doesn't mean that if we go up, we get to keep all of the stars, because we've had rumours, as I'm going to mention a little bit later, around Crescencio Somerville, for example. Probably Nanto will have a lot of interest from elsewhere, and if Liverpool come knocking for Somerville, it's just a matter of what's the money looking like, because Arne Slot, if he wants someone, will probably get him, because that ownership is going to back him to the hilt and throw fees around like nobody's business. But at the very least, Premier League money means that we are in a good position to rebuff offers. We're in a place to say, no, you've decided to offer us below market value, we're absolutely not accepting that, which is smart, which means that we can get in a more strong position financially and sort of make sure we're doing okay. Financially healthy whilst selling if people are happy to pay over the odds. The Leicester model, but done right and without breaking FFP. Failing to do so and get into the Premier League could, however, mean some quite significant problems, and I have absolutely no doubt that plans for the Championship will have been discussed as well. Further down in Ben Jacobs' article, he stated that there is a £30 million price tag on Willy Nanto. It's a little bit less than the one that we quoted Everton for last season at 40 million quid, but that's fine, I think, because he's had a season of Championship football. He's been pretty good, but He's got that little bit less prestige about him, and if we don't go up, we will need that £30 million. We've got to keep in mind that this season so far, we've made £40 million in outgoing sales already from Tyler Adams and Lewis Sinisterra, both to Bournemouth. People are talking about this £70 million fee that will need to be paid out in the summer to various transfer debts. That Willie Gnonto £30 million covers the rest of that. So the rest of what we've got is what we can spend on players. And odds are we might lose a couple of extra players because, as I mentioned, Somerville has that Liverpool interest. But, and this is a pretty big but, I still think we are far too early to start speculating on a championship window. When we went down from the Premier League, a lot of people were saying that X, Y, and Z players would leave, and we didn't know who they would be. People were saying, well, we'll probably lose Somerville because he's a young wonder kid, and we'll lose Nonto, and maybe we lose Pascal Strauch as well, and Dylan Meslier will go, and all of those players stayed at the club. The players that left were ones that we were a little bit surprised by. Mark Rocker went, but everyone could maybe see that one coming. The one that surprised me the most, for example, was Max Wuber, who had apparently been promised the captaincy in a friendly against Barnsley, if I remember correctly. And then he went to Gladbach anyway. And then Tyler Adams left after apparently putting an arm around Archie Gray's shoulder and giving him a little bit of guidance, which also threw me a little bit. So I think the players that will go won't necessarily be the players that we all expect to go. Yes, we'll likely see the Somervilles and the Nontos having a temptation towards leaving, but at the end of the day, we have no idea what happens with departures because it's absolute chaos. Once the feeding frenzy comes from the Premier League clubs going, you did all right in the Championship, maybe you'll do well in the Premier League, then we could have some potential issues. So we'll deal with those when we get to them because you can't predict them in the slightest. But I'm optimistic anyway. I think we'll be fine. Looking at the games ahead of us, some might say this is blind optimism, and I would probably agree with you, but I think we'll be okay. If we don't go up automatically, I feel somewhat okay about the playoffs because we've beaten Norwich twice this season, so I feel all right on that one. We don't know how we'll do against Southampton. We didn't necessarily do well against West Brom, but they might not be in the playoffs anyway. Who knows? So we'll see. But ultimately, I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below. That is always massively appreciated, just getting a sort of idea of what the Leeds community is feeling, what we're vibing with at the moment. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe. That's always massively appreciated. You can even become a channel member. All that revenue is going towards Prostate Cancer UK, and I am around the corner from announcing a big charity event that I'm going to be doing in August as well. That is going to be great fun and very painful. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Let's hope that we go up, and I will see you later. I do hope we get promoted. I just want to be happy. I'm going to treat myself to the outro. See you later. Oh, guess the video's done then. That's my outro sorted.